Today I'll be presenting a very interesting topic from code to clever, and there are a couple people meeting each other. From the technology side, I call Java meets Gen AI and Spring AI. So this is me, Ankith Jain. I'm an application engineer at Discover. Been developing enterprise level software since 10 plus years. So quickly, let's go through agenda. I'll cover basic GenAI terminologies, which I'll be using throughout the presentation. And also we'll see how Ollama can help us to bring local models on our machine. And then, I'm telling local models on our own machine. And then you can interact with them. And introduction to Spring AI, which is a framework which helps to develop generative AI applications, the base language being Java. And we'll see a demo of building an application using Spring AI and Ollama with one of our choice of model. And we also will use a PDF and fed into using embedding model and fed into a vector store, and then we'll have some conversations with that PDF, which is done using concept of RAG. So with that being said, let me say why Spring AI, or why even this topic, or what motivated me to think about this topic and work on some projects. So back when we saw like ChatGPT came, it had like millions of downloads, and within 2 months it went like, very viral. So we all became a users of it. And then world evolved, and then my day-to-day job is developing applications, enterprise level applications. So this is where I sit, or most of us sit. So we have our applications, we have our data, but how do we make that as a bridge, right? How do we connect them? If at all there is a use case in future I want to connect. So this is the major gap which Spring AI connects both the applications with our own data with the generative AI models. And it does gives a lot of flexibilities, like your models are stateless. It is having capability of remembering the conversations and then feeding it back. So it solves many problems. And let's get into one by one of basic GenAI terminologies, and then we'll see in detail how this can help us in connecting the enterprise data and with the AI models. So I'll be using some of these basic terminologies, models. There are many models we know. For today, I'll be using chat model as our example. There are image model. So there are varieties of models, use cases you can pick if you're converting from audio to text or video and all those things. Prompts. So what is prompts? Prompts is something you have a copilot or a chat GPT or any application where you are sending your questions, right? So the basic simple language, you are just using human language to send into a model and then generate a better response or ask some more intelligent questions to it. Right? So that's where the prompts concept come. And tokens. So token, consider this as a currency. Why? Whatever we are communicating from the human language is converted back into tokens, and then those tokens are interpreted across the model. And then when we see the response back, the tokens are converted back to words. So that's what is happening inside the communication when the model is taking our user input. And we'll see embedding models can be converted. So the next concept is covering my next conversation, whatever. So embeddings. Embeddings is what it takes your human language words and then convert into a numerical vectors, and then it feds to vector store, right? You can use an embedding. There are varieties of embedding models. Spring AI supports those models, and then you can utilize and then fed the data in the numerical form so that whenever you are performing any RAG, then it can choose a distance between your application. Let's say you're talking about fish. I'm more interested to see what are the common sentences across the fish, right? Fish is in the lake, fish is in the pond, or my kids like go to aquarium, right? So those are all things it can check, and then it can do a distance between the words what we send, and then it can do a vector similarity search. Rather than our normal databases go with a strict word and then they search against it. But this is a very fun concept. It takes a user input, as a human language, and it can draw conclusions based on the distance, and it can give us which is the relevant context, and it can use top 4 responses or top k responses. That's where RAG, and we'll see a live demo of it. Tool calling. Models are trained to certain date, right? After that, what if I want to give model my more context? How do I provide a tool which can, again, this concept can lead into MCP, but we are just, for simplicity purposes, we are just focusing on RAG and a tool calling. I'm just giving an introduction where if you want to tell the model today's date, then it can have a add tool annotation in Spring AI, and then it can be smart enough to give you a today's date. I'll show you an example of this, just to say that models are trained to attend certain date and they do not know what is happening later it. And then this is how you can make it more smarter using tools or tool calling or function calling. Overall, I'll be playing with Spring AI. This cute thing is Ollama, where we can download local large language models on our machine. OpenAI I'm using to do embeddings, and Docker I use to get my PostgreSQL with a PG vector, which is a vector database for a combination of it. And then Gemma 3 is my large language model for our demo purposes today. So Ollama, what is Ollama? Ollama is a lightweight tool which allows us to run LLMs locally on our machine. And this is a website, and I just gave you a link there, and I'll discuss in detail. But why choose Ollama? Ollama is easy to set up. You can just go to the website, choose your model of your choice, click download, download the Ollama tool, and then you can go to any model of your choice and just use Ollama run and give the model name. Up, it is running on your machine. Easy for rapid prototyping, because I said you can bring that model, turn your Wi-Fi off in your machine, and still you are able to talk to that model. So that's how powerful it is. And easy privacy and security, because everything is in your machine. You're not sending any data out, or nobody's storing it. So I'll show how to get started with it. I said Gemma 3 is the model, which is like a Google's open source LLM series, which allows people to use on an open source mode that allows people to use. It has a context window of 128K tokens, or there are a variety of things. Why this is context window? It's at a certain point you're talking to a model, only certain information can be fed, right? Those are the tokens, what I was telling, that's the currency. And it's been trained at 4 billion trainable weights. More the trainable weights, what I have seen and read, is more your model is smart enough to contextualize the context what you're asking. With that being said, let's go to Ollama website. This is, okay, I think I have to the show, right. This is ollama.com. Click on download. If you have a local machine, you can do it. If not, you can try this later. We have the YouTube live recording going on also. Mac OS, Linux, Windows. I have Mac OS. I click on download. It is getting downloaded. And once it is downloaded, go to a terminal. I already have a Ollama model running, but let me bring you a new window. So once you have downloaded, just make Ollama version. Okay, so if you just type Ollama, you're gonna see what are the list of available commands. And yeah, Ollama dash version was the command which I want to use. And then you can see pull, push. As a developer, what I feel, it's more like a GitHub for me, because I write code, I commit and pull and push. So it gave me that kind of feel. And Ollama, let's see what are the models already I have brought in my machine. So I did Ollama list, and I have these many models downloaded on my machine, and you see the size is just 3.3 gigs. It's good for demo purposes. And that being said, the Ollama model is already running here with this command, and then I can say, hi, Ollama model. So this entire thing is I brought the LLM on my machine, and I'm already having a chat with it. So that's that simple. Turn the Wi-Fi off, still it works. But I would not do that. I have other things running. So if that's clear, we did the Ollama setup demo. So this is what I've just put a list of commands, what I have felt like a cheat sheet. Like you download, you run, you list, you stop, and you remove a model if at all you have downloaded too many models on your machine. And I showed a command where you can see a list of commands if you want to do more. For today's demo purposes, we'll be using this basic workflow where we'll go in detail about how to start a Spring AI application, and we'll be using a chat client and a chat model, which is Gemma 3. And so that will show us how to develop a chat client and then how to develop a Spring GenAI application in very simplistic manner. And then to add more context and more exciting stuff, we'll load a PDF with Spring AI loaders to a vector store, and then we'll have conversation with it. And if you want to know what else Spring AI has, it has so many features, right? It is vector store, so that let's say as a developer today you are working on one of the database Oracle, and tomorrow you want to switch a database. All you do is minor configuration changes, right? Because you are more focusing on interface rather than implementation. So tomorrow, if you want to change anything, Spring AI has a flexibility where you can bring any vector store of your choice, model of your choice for varieties of use cases what you're solving, and then you can play around with it. To get started with this project, so you can go to Spring Initializer and you can bring the dependencies. For our demo, okay. So this is where you can go to the Spring Initializer website and then start playing around and bring Ollama, and then you can play around with this. And then once you start getting the project done, for our demo purposes, I already have added a screenshot of these are the dependency I have. And then if we go to the build.gradle, we'll be able to see these dependencies. I would not add individually here, but on a screenshot I have given so that if you want to try this out later, feel free to try it out. Okay. With that being said, I have a quick question in the room. If you guys are technical, how many of you know or have implemented REST client or used a REST template? If you have done, please raise your hands. I have done it. I do it in my production apps. So if that you have done, I can confidently say you're already at par. So you're already at par in developing GenAI applications. How simple? Let's see it in the next slide. So I have brought up a simple example. We saw conversating with a model when we were running from the terminal, but how do you do programmatically? Get mapping, we all know, we can expose a REST endpoint. Chat client is a Fluent API, which gives us a chainable action, and Spring AI is, with the configurations what you provide, it knows the model. The models what we have, the Ollama model what we are downloading, one of the model what we are downloading is Gemma 3, is also exposing a REST endpoint. So with that REST endpoint, Spring AI has the configuration, it knows how to bring which model is running in your machine, and then it can wire up everything with your model and then send an input and get the content out. So it's that simple. So I have warmed my application up and have done some chatting with it already. So I saved the time for the demo. So if you see, localhost 8080 is running with GenAI prompt, and I have given a prompt, hello LLM model from Spring AI. And it's telling, hello there, it's nice to meet you. I'm Gemma, a large language model. So this communication is now happening from the Spring AI application. So this is where the earlier context image, if you remember, your application, your data, and the GenAI model now have been integrated. So now, at least, okay, I have brought this, and then there are ways, like if you bring it up, there's a blocking call, right? And what if you want to see a context where a line by line approach is coming? So you can stream your responses. So if you want to stream your responses, you can have, let's see how this works, and then I will show from the code perspective how this is done. So I did a curl command to just call that endpoint. And then I think as this goes, we should see a line by line output. Okay, that's fine. So this response, what I'm giving is a non-blocking call, and I'll show from the code how did I achieve this. Yeah, the streaming response one, this endpoint. So with that being said, we are all interested in seeing the code. This is my chat controller. I brought the chat client, and my configurations are here. Okay, I think this is visible. So if you see, I have Ollama, which exposes a REST end client the HTTP API at 11434 port, and I have given the model of my choice. You can play around. You see, you are satisfied with this model response. No, I'm not. Let's bring the other model, and then you can have a chat, and then you can evaluate the model of your choice. And then, as I'm in the slide, I would also cover the embedding model setup, the vector store, it's been configured in my application YAML, and the build.gradle I was telling to bring all those dependencies. Coming back to the chat client, now I was talking about a streaming based response, right? So this is where I'm like giving flux, and if you guys are familiar with reactive style of programming, then you guys know what I'm talking about. So this will accept the request, and then the response is streamed. How you do a Copilot or ChatGPT, you see a line by line response. This is how we can achieve that. Okay, now I have a model. What do I make it more domain specific, right? I don't want the model to answer, if I'm like serving a model which is a tourist guide, I don't want that my application to talk about tax strategies. But I need to add a guardrail to it, because model is smart. Model is trained on so many data. How do I do that? Let's see an example first, and then I will show how did I add a guardrail. So I asked the model, explain tax loss harvesting strategies. I'm sure it is smart enough to give some strategies, but it is telling I can help with Chicago travel info only. So I gave a big system message. Hey, these are my rules. Follow these rules. If a user is asking out of this context, just say politely, I can help with Chicago travel info only. Because this is my chat bot, which can give me a plan to plan my trip to Chicago. And how do I achieve it? I added a system message, and then chat client is smart enough as a Fluent API, embed your responses, embed your chain of response to another line of object, and then it can give you a content. Okay, that's good. I also asked plan a trip to Paris, then it says no, I can help with Chicago travel info only. I said models are trained in different languages, so this request response asking in a Spanish language, and then I'm able to get a response out. We are all developers. I said tokens is the currency. How do I know what is the model running? How much detail I can get it from the chat model? This is the endpoint what we are interested, right? So this is the response what it got for a planet trip to Chicago. But if you see underline, there is a lot of metadata exposed here. There's a metadata of telling that this response came from this model and how many tokens I had usage, because every response you make with any of the proprietary models, they charge by tokens. And how did I get that going? I'm taking a response, like the response object of chat response, and chat response has the metadata what we are looking for. I hope this gives some clarity of developing a application which is a chat client, right? So with that being said, let's get into our more interesting topic of bringing a PDF and then having a chat with it. For that, I'm using RAG. As we see on a simple terminology, it is retrieval augmented generation. What we are doing is we are giving a prompt to a chat model that these are the list of things what I feel as a relevant documents. Out of this list of documents, provide me a smart rendered output. Uh, think like that. Or if you want to bring your own enterprise privacy information or some security documents which you want to have it only on your side, how do you educate that model? Because model is trained on a global data. Model doesn't know who is speaking today now, right? Or what are the events happening in any of the community, right? If at all it's not publicly listed everywhere and it is not done SEO, and lot many things happen when you do an internet search. But if you, how do you get your own data? This is the concept which helps us. And this is a slide. This is a diagram. What it explains. So I shot. I showed you a slide where offline where we are able to bring a data source. So this is the data source of your choice. You can bring many data sources, and there are so many readers out in Spring AI which can read your document and then read it. Have like 20. We have a 24 page of worth of document, which is again splitting it into chunks and then writing into a vector store. So this can be done by ETL on offline mode. You can make your vector store loaded with your data. For today, for our demo purposes, I have already loaded the data in our vector store. What happens in the runtime? I'm as an end user, I'm more interested in seeing a relevant output. So what happens when a user is giving a chat request? Uh, it is going to a vector store, performing a similarity search. Earlier I was talking about the distance concept, right? Based on the input, whatever we have given to a vector model, it measures the distance. And it gives me like top 4 documents, what is that retrieved, and then stuffs back to the chat model so that my prompt is been having the relevant documents here, and then my chat model is smart enough to get all the information context, and it's giving me a very good response. So that either you can bring your own data which is not globally available, or it is your own proprietary data, you can bring it to the model and then have a conversation with it. So with that being said, I am showing you a live demo where I have loaded this travel guide. So we all travel and then we get so many guides about exploring a city, and this is one of my favorite city, and Chicago, and this is a big chunk of document which is 24 pages of worth of document. I don't want to read it. I want things to be done very smartly. So if you see, already I have, if you see my logs, it is processing 24 pages. It has done a splitting of the document into chunks, what the graph, like what the image we showed you. And then vector store is loaded with 42 documents. If you see this line, vector store is loaded with the 42 clean documents. Now this gives capability for my application. Whenever is a user prompting to that model, it knows to measure the distance. So let's see an example with the RAG. I ask, what are the free things to do in Chicago? Either you ask your friend when you're traveling here, or so many people call you, what are the things you do? You always say, go to Millennium Park, roam around a Grand Park, and explore some different museums or whatever you are interested in. So this is the distance for free things to do, and every information is being retrieved by the vector store, which is performing a similarity search and giving me a distance of 0.21 for this input request. And then similarly, it is giving me this much context. And this has been fed to the model. And as an end user, I'm interested in this response. it is telling, it is giving me a list of things to do. Again, I asked the model, plan me a 3-day Chicago itinerary near the loop with walk times and loop in CTA lines. So it is giving me do this in day 1, do this in day 2, and do this in day 3. All information is coming more from the PDF. Again, it is not giving a similar response. Let's see what another user might have done, and then let's see what is his itinerary plan. We don't want everyone to follow our model and do the same thing, right? So let's see how smart is it. I'm going to see the response now. So again, it is giving me different, again, options for day 1, day 2, day 3 for the same request. What are the relevant documents it fed in? I am doing a similarity search. I get these many documents with a distance of 0.24, 0.27, 0.28, and 0.2, like so many information. So this says my generative AI model that, okay, this much information I feel based on whatever user has added is more relevant to his conversation. And then now you can generate a meaningful response for him. How did I achieve it? So this is the code. Again, I'm using a command line runner. That means when I'm starting my application, this will load it on the runtime. So this is my PDF, which is this. It is reading by the paged PDF document reader. If you have different sources, there is a Tika reader library, you can bring it in. But as I have PDF, I kept it very simple, got the PDF to read it. And then I'm using a text splitter, and then it is splitting my document into different chunks. Okay, I have done it, cleaned it. I'm storing it in my vector store. Once this is done, my vector store has all the information. And then coming back, I'm using advisors. With every request coming in, I'm not performing similarity search. Spring AI is smart enough for me to take care by bringing the advisors. It also has an advisor to remember a chat memory, but for today's demo purposes, I am showing question answer advisors, which is taking the question from the user, and then it is smart enough to do a similarity search in the vector store and then provide us a response. So I'm just doing chat client, prompt, user, and stream and content. And rest everything, if I enable my controller with chat client and giving a default advisors, so then for every request what I'm getting, it is smart enough to give a Q&A kind of approach, and rest all the burden is handled by Spring AI. And I have used Docker. So I have a Docker compose file to bring my Spring, where is my Docker? So this is the PG vector running here. So that being said, again, I asked what is happening in Hong Kong. I'm sorry, but the provided text doesn't contain the information about what's happening in Hong Kong. So it is reading the document. It doesn't have much information about it. And then my model is giving me a relevant information. Think with this example, I would recommend think many use cases, right? What many use cases can fit in at your own organization, and how this can inspire anyone to start a journey towards Gen AI. Because I've been developing a lot of applications with regular microservices and event-driven architecture with enterprise scale. But how do I make them smart? This is how you can bring those applications with this additional capabilities based on whatever the use case your organizations want to solve. And I have some more information. Okay, which model to choose, right? There are so many models out. Every week or every day you see so many models out. So there is LM Arena. I think this is from University of Berkeley, a leadership dashboard. I think a lot of community people talk about it, that, hey, our model is at LM Arena and it is getting so many votes. you can go to this website, have two models on a side by side, and have a chat and see which model is good, even before bringing into your machine, and see is it worth playing with this, right? So this is the website, and I'll just quickly click on this and then show you based on whatever problem you're solving, right? You are a guy who wants to take text and convert it into an image. You want to do image edits. There are so many possibilities here, and then you can choose what are the top models, and then you can see the votes and ranking. I'm almost done. So this is another graph which says Ollama is good, but it's good for local development and prototyping. And if you have a use case, I have seen VLLM is an open source library which is smart enough to optimize your models if you at all you want to take a production grade application. So this is a graph, and then there is an article from Red Hat. I have marked the link here, so you can refer and read what exactly you want to do when you're really good enough and you have prototyped it. I feel very confident about this, and let's see what is the production scale, because everybody we deal at a very high level scale of users and enterprise scale, right? So this is where you'll have a library to play with. That being said, I have given all the useful resources what I have done, and the workshop code what I did is at this my GitHub repo, and I'm open for questions. And if you want to connect with me, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Thank you. I hope I have inspired many Java engineers to try it out on the GenAI space. That was my goal actually. Yeah.
See the curls showing up in one of the slides. You use it or just show them or curl CUR?
Yeah, curl. Yeah, you can go to. I went to Postman.
Do you use it or not? Because I saw it.
Yes. So I have used it curl just to show a streaming based response. But let me see if that's working. So what if at all you want to know how to get a curl? So these are REST clients, right? So this, if you want, instead of Postman, you want to have a terminal based request response. You can copy that from Postman. You can copy that code snippet and you can have an interaction with an API. No, it's just a REST client call. You can make with this command and you can make a call. It's not downloading or uploading. It's a client where you can interact with your API. Yeah.
So in this example, you're just running this model on your local machine with your CPU. Right?
Yes.
So at what point, how large do the models get before you need to run on a GPU or?
Yeah. So if you go here.
My correction on that. The Mac will actually use the GPU. So Ollama will run off that GPU. But he's running it both. Yes. Yeah, the MacBook has a GPU.
Yeah, definitely I would recommend to go with lesser GB. If you see here, I could have used a 17 gigs, right? Again, I want to hammer my machine with many spaces and many models. If you are prototyping, just better is to use a smaller version of the model, and then if you want more resources, then we all know how to scale it. I have a very simple MacBook Air, and I choose a 3.3 gig worth of memory space to be occupied.
In terms of Ollama's consumption locally, how does that work? How does it able to rectify? Because of course it's running locally. How does it able to rectify that this prompt or etc. takes this amount of tokens? Like the weights or the hierarchy of how much queries cost per token exactly.
So if you saw a response when I showed a chat model, right? So the metadata from the Spring AI, I was able to show that the complete request and response and what model was integrated with Spring AI and how many tokens it took in total. So the Spring AI gives that metadata if at all you are asking that piece. Yeah.
The token cost. So tokens is a concept of how it's can be.
So the metadata, it showed like the cost of the token. I think you showed it in your.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I think I'm the slide mode. So let me shut the slide mode. Yeah, there is a chat response model. That's what I showed you, but I am just trying to get my end show.
Yeah, and that's just calling locally on your own machines.
For this inquiry, for this request, for this request. Yeah.
It's roughly saying that 14 hours.
Yeah, and if at all, there is another website I want to show that. Yeah, let me open AI token, and then I think I did not show Spring AI website. So for anyone to learn more about Spring AI, there is this website. So you can go here and learn more concepts, but
Yeah.
so if you want to learn more about the generative AI concepts relevant to our development, you can go here and then click on GenAI AI concepts, and then we'll get to know what is it. And tokens is here. So if at all you want to measure the tokens, you give the words, and then the embedding model like 1536 or anything, the list of words, it adds to that embedding. So if you do a math, then it will go 1536. I can see that words math adds to that total, and then it gets into the model, and that's how it can able to connect with the distance.
Ankith, thanks for the presentation. I have a very quick one.
Yeah.
When you look at the metadata and you look at distance, that's like relevancy, right?
Yes.
Questions. Okay, so that's how you think of distance. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So you can go here and type Spring AI, and then it is giving me how many tokens and what are the characters. It is all local, so I'm not spending any money, so I'm okay to do as much context I want to talk.
When you were talking about similarity, we're seeing this in similarity, you were talking about cosine similarity. Yeah.
Yeah, there's one more question.
So at the beginning, you mentioned that you're using OpenAI for embedding.
Embedding, yeah.
So not using a local model.
What I've used, but I wanted to have an experience with OpenAI and get a token out, because it's just $5 and then put a token out, and then for other thing, for heavy lifting, I'm using an open model. Yeah, it's all chunking. I'm just chunking, yeah. But if you want to know more about it, then what are the models it is supporting? Spring AI has a list of things, right? So if you want to see what are the embedding models, so I showed you chat models, and this is the list of embedding models what is supporting. So there are list of models what is supporting, and then you can pick your choice. Just because people talk so much about OpenAI, I just wanted to have a flavor and give my just get a understanding of it.
All good? All good? Yes. Okay. Great. Thank you.
And thanks, John and Mary, for everything. Yeah.